back everyone to Master Game Design, Unreal Engine 5 Stylized Environment and third-person blueprint course. In the last lesson we left ourselves with a nice stylized type of a curvature for the staircase, and now we're going to go ahead and make use out of the doors that we have within the pack to make sure that we make an entrance, like a nice entrance over here. So let's go ahead and search for a door, and we should find ourselves with a nice selection of different types. So we're going to make use out of this type of a door entrance over here. I think that looks quite nice. And the next thing, we got to make it look a little bit more grand. Although this is more of a slum area, going out of a slums, it has to look a little bit nicer since it's also going to be part of a reveal. Whenever you're entering this section over here, you just want to make sure that it looks kind of nice as a new section. So yeah, we're going to go ahead and do that. Actually lower this door over here. Okay, so for us to do that, we're going to, well, first of all, make sure that we have a certain door. So let's see what kind of a door we can add, and we could either use out of the singular type of a door that we have, like one of the barn doors that are quite a bit larger, or alternatively, what we could do is we could grab one of the single doors over here with a nice entrance like so, make them a little bit larger so what they would look like a bit more of a grand look, and then build it around it basically in regards to the setup. So I think that's the best way of doing it for this particular case. It really depends on what you'd like to set up. We have some doors that have just basic separated type of a door with a hinge and whatnot. We also have the type of doors that are built into the sections themselves, like so, but they're not going to be working out because these are just one-sided, as you can see, and this door over here is double-sided, so we're going to make use out of this one instead. I'm going to go ahead and just reposition this, put it down on the ground, and make it perhaps a little bit larger. Let me just go ahead and think of that a little bit. Yeah, I think I'll just make it a little bit larger like so. Look at quite a bit nicer. Maybe I'll just extend it just a little bit, just like that. And now we've got to consider what to do with the gaps. Well, the easiest way would be probably to just make use out of columns, like so. And I'm just going to use the very basic one that I find, and just put it off to the side, just like that. The top section is already filled in, so we don't need to worry about that. I'm going to go ahead and do that. And then on the sides, we can use one of these pillars over here. I'm actually going to make one quite a bit larger, quite a bit more chunky, like so. And just put it on both ends, just like that, like so. It's going to look quite nice overall. And yeah, that's going to look quite okay. We're not going to worry about the game design too much. The only thing that we should be concerned basically is whether or not the door is going to be able to be open with the origin point at this point. So it's going to be opening like so. And usually when we have animations, we'd want to keep the scale more or less the same. So if we had a lot of animated doors and whatnot, we would, for example, you go to modeling mode, make a duplicate out of this mesh, and then bake in the transformations. So this option over here. So that is something that we would do if we'd have a lot of animated doors within a scene. However, for this particular case, we only have one type of a door in this section, so we're not going to worry about it too much in regards to that. We're going to go ahead and just simply make sure that it looks quite nice visually. So I think that's going to look quite all right. There is a bit of a gap on the top, so I'm actually just going to bring this outwards like so. And there we go, something like that. I think that's going to be quite all right, like so. Might bring this a little bit outwards, or actually opening this way is quite all right. Okay, so the next thing that we need to do is just make sure we fill in these gaps. We can't really do that just yet because we need to go ahead and build up this building over here. So let's go ahead and go back onto the slum area and just kind of refine what we have already. I'm just going to go ahead and search for a balcony, for example. We can just add a single balcony over here. And now it really depends on what we would like, and I think a circular one would look quite nice, especially in regards to just visuals for this section. Whenever it's open, it's going to be well, partially aligning to this design over here, more of a circular look. So that's going to be quite all right. I'm just going to go ahead and add this balcony off to the side, just like that. And when we're doing it, usually for the housing structure, we'd want to make sure that, for example, the height level would be more or less the same. But in this particular case, because it's a slum area, we need to consider how it's built out. And basically, usually when a slum area is built out, they wouldn't be building it out all at once and having a proper structure. They would usually just build out, for example, one house like over on the side, for example, one on the side, and then they would kind of like add additional attachments afterwards based on the materials that they have. So maybe they would just try to make a sort of a quick job just to make sure the houses of people. They would maybe add then afterwards start building out extra stuff, like, you know, adding like a bit of a balcony, for example, or like adding a couple of windows. But they're only being they would only have those kind of stuff in an afterthought, and that's why you'd have so many unique type of shapes in slum areas and whatnot. You'd have a lot of bizarre looking, for example, windows placed around. Although this window over here, I can see that is basically overlapping over in this section. So I'm trying to think what we can do with this regard. Just going to search for a block. Maybe I'll be able to get away with that. Maybe like a column or something of the sort. And I just want to fill in this shape over here. So again, I'm just thinking on what I can do. Maybe I'll be able to just grab one of the harbor blocks and just place it onto the side. I'm hoping they'll have a similar looking color. Let me just go ahead and see if we can just hide that window away. Also, it needs to be quite a bit squished down well, or rotated around, just to make sure it doesn't go outside to the other side. Something like this. I'm just going to bring it inwards like so. And in this particular case, I just want it to be touching the roof as well. And yeah, it helps to break off the surface a little bit as well, actually. So that's quite nice. Might even add something underneath over here, like a column support. And I'm just looking for a column support. I'm not sure what it's called. Let me just go ahead and go back to all of our assets in the back and find that section. So that's going to be, if we were to look around, I think this area over here. And we're just looking for the cubes. There you go, pillars. So these are the ones. I'm just going to go and click on the browse to content, and so we'll have it close to ourselves. And I'm going to place one in, but they're all looking quite a bit extravagant. So I'm just going to find one that maybe looks like this and just place it turning around. Instead, we wouldn't have that blue type of a tone. I think that's going to be much better overall. I'm going to make it a little bit smaller, add it in just like that. Something like so. Push it down even. And turning off the gridlock, just having more of a placement. There we go. It's going to look quite a bit nicer in regards to this section with it being supported like that. This section over here, we can also block it off using this type of a chunk. I think it's going to be quite all right. I'm wondering if you should block off the entire entrance or not. I'm still considering that. And I think we can block it off. It helps us to break off the surface, but it doesn't look like there needs to be anything in this section. So I'm just going to go ahead and do that actually. So we could have probably used a wall, and actually I will use the wall since it's just much easier and we don't overuse unnecessary in regards to like chunks and whatnot of the blocks. So yeah, it's just much easier to do that. I'm going to move it to the side a little bit so there'd be no gap. Something like this. It still looks quite nice, and I think that's quite all right. We might add a window though over on here just to make sure that we're able to just break off the surface a little bit. Going to rotate this 180 degrees like so, and just help us to break it off. So in this particular case, because this looks like there'd be a sort of a floor foundation over here, we could either move it all the way down or raise it up a little bit above this section. I don't want it to keep it in the middle, so we'd have a sort of illusion that this is where like a floor section is over here. So yeah, just by looking at this, it also keeps it in regards to the similar height level over on the sides. So that's going to be quite all right. This section over here is going to be quite okay. I'm worried about this section being a little bit too plain, but all in all, it's going to be quite all right. We need to block off this still with a building, so I'm not going to worry about that. Then we're going to move into this section with a third person. We're not going to worry about at this point with the top-down view or whatnot, because once we're built out like the base foundation, the base shape, we're just looking at the overall setup. So actually there, the exit needs a bit of an archway as well. Actually, I will go ahead and do that right away. The rest of the items, the rest of the places don't look too out of place. Maybe this, for example, could use a window. Don't want to add this window, it looks a little bit too thick. Or maybe it looks just right. Wondering in regards to that thickness I was talking about. Don't want it to be placing it inwards too much because the emission map is not going to be visible. It's going to stand off too much. Might just place in this window, or I'll just add a couple of these like so. There you go. That helps to break off the surface a little bit. We'll try to place it inwards into the building a little bit, and maybe even lower this down like so. All right, this looks quite nice. This area I might consider adding a window. This section over here looks quite a bit off with the window over here, but considering that it has a sort of an elevation, it might look quite alright, as the building looks like it's built into the ground itself a little bit. So that's okay. This section okay. This section might need like a balcony or something of the sort. So let me just go ahead and find that. In this particular case, I'll just use a square one just to have some extra variation. It really is up to you which type you use. And there you go. It helps just break off this single looking wall, and it makes it look so much nicer overall. So right now we got this set up. We need a way of blocking it out and making it look like it's an exit to the city or something of the sort. This section needs an archway as well, which actually I'll go ahead and just search for an arc, see what we can do with it. I'm going to just add a simple archway like so. Maybe I should add a couple of doors as well, and I should probably just have a nice archway over here, just like that. And it's going to look quite nice from this end, but from the other end, it's going to have a bit of an issue with the mesh, since it's meant to be attached to the to some buildings, to some archways and whatnot. So I'm trying to think what we can do with it, and I think the easiest way to fix this would be to simply go to modeling mode. Quite actually easy to fix. Duplicate this mesh, click accept, and then go on to deforming. Sorry, not deforming, try model, mirror. Click on the mirror, and then this allows us to basically mirror this entire mesh with all of these settings. We just got to make sure that we select the right one. All we're going to do basically for this one is going to just set preset for the direction. So I think it's going to be left, right, no, nothing like that, up. Nope, nothing like that. Oh, we can scroll down a little bit to just see back and front, and we should be able to find ourselves the right setup. So forwards, backwards. I think it's backwards. Yep, it is the backwards. All we got to do now is just make use out of the gizmo itself. We're going to just use this line over here to just click and hold and then drag it on like so. You just set it up like this, and it looks quite nice overall. Maybe I'll just drag it out a little bit outwards like so. So it has two pillars, and I think it looks quite nice overall. So let's go ahead and accept it, and we got ourselves two-sided mesh real nicely set up. So let's go ahead and just drag it all the way back like so, and we got ourselves a nice exit. Maybe we need to change up how this looks, or maybe we can just drag it to the front like so and make it look a little bit more fancy, so the pillars don't look like they're overlapping too much within regards to the building itself. Something like so. Let's go ahead and see from the front. The front looks quite nice. I like this. We need to add a couple of windows as well over here, but we're going to do that in a bit. This archway needs a bit of an extra touch, and yeah, I think we're going to continue on with this in the next lesson since we're running out of time. So thank you so much for watching, and I'll be